You started to feel steady again after the devalue and discard. You're finding your footing, finding your strength back. And then their message appears. Soft, loving, apologetic, urgent. Now, for one who's been loved and then broken by the very person who loved them and who's trying to heal themselves back, the message that is soft, loving, apologetic, and urgent can feel like nectar. But before you answer, hear this podcast to learn the one pattern that pulls people back into the same trap. I'm Namita Purohit, a leadership and life coach. This podcast is sponsored by the HealStrong program, my signature 5-step program based on Eastern wisdom and Western psychology to help leaders like you heal from toxic narcissistic abuse and learn how to deal effectively with them. Links in the description if you wish to join as a self-starter or you're looking for one-on-one coaching with me. Now, this video is the last one in the series of videos on the cycle of narcissistic abuse, and you can find the playlist to the series and my HealStrong podcast in the description below too. An established actress and a celebrity influencer with a large worldwide following connected to me a few years ago after watching many of my videos. She signed up for one-on-one coaching in this HealStrong program. And as a part of coaching, I also give people access to the courses and the guided meditations on the program because I really want them to heal fast and accelerate their progress. So she worked on those courses and guided meditations, and with bi-monthly sessions with me over a year, she felt like she was thriving. And she was, raising her son as a single mother while also rebuilding her career in, as a film actress and her influencer career. She had been so broken that she wasn't able to pay attention to that also while raising her son. So this was helping her recoup all those losses, that had happened. And she was very happy that she was able to thrive back again. And as she was healing and she was becoming healed and whole, in her heart of hearts, she believed that if she healed herself, then by the principles of the law of attraction, her narcissistic ex-husband would also change. And even though because of the program and the coaching she had received from me and like the reveal stage that we go through in the 5 stages of the program, understanding the narcissists and revealing, they're taking their masks off and revealing their true face, she knew narcissists rarely change, but she hoped that he would return healed and whole as she became healed and whole because, there's so much talk about twin souls and, flames and, all those different things that, some way we believe. Some of that maybe in our love life too. Now, he did reach out suddenly to her, soft, loving, apologetic, and urgent. And he said he felt terrible for abandoning her and their son, and that he wanted to come back into their lives and be the father and partner he should have been. And in her heart of hearts, because that's what she wanted and that's what she saw in front of her, she welcomed him back gently. Not just because it satisfied her need, but she also wanted her son to have a father. And he did seem extremely apologetic and very changed. Now, my year-long coaching engagement with her had ended, but she called to tell me how happy she was that her dream had come true. And I was very happy that she was happy. I shared in her happiness. But I also asked her to be very watchful. I reminded her of the hoovering stage we had discussed during our sessions. Just when the target begins to recover from the emotional wreckage and that bottomless pit that the narcissist throws them into after the discard and the smear campaign. And once they've started recovering and getting their energy back, and in her case, she was thriving as an actress and as an influencer. And, she looked even more beautiful, her skin glowing, and she looked happy again. The narcissist re-enters the stage. And this stage is called as hoovering. It is filled with promises of change, apologies, and attempts to rekindle the connection. Now, hoovering is not a clinical psychology word. But in narcissism speak, it's a metaphor drawn from the Hoover vacuum, the Hoover brand vacuum. Now in UK, the word hoovering is used in place of vacuuming. It's like the brand name and the product name are kind of becoming interchangeable, the activity name. So when they say, did you hoover the room? It means, did you clean the room? Did you vacuum the room? And here in narcissism speak, when the narcissist hoovers you, it means they're vacuuming up your love, your attention, and your energy after the discard back into you're being vacuumed back into their world. And it's a manipulative move to regain control, stir all those loving emotions and vulnerabilities, and in turn, they secure one of the greatest sources of narcissistic supplies that they ever had. Now, the empath who is still longing for the love they once felt during the love bombing may find themselves pulled in again by false promises, keeping the cycle going. Now, why does the narcissist come back? Because after the discard, after discarding you, they may not have been able to secure a narcissistic supply that truly satisfies them. And they sense that, their control over you is fading and that you're now thriving and you could again be that source of supply for them. They return to reclaim that power and emotional hold they once had on you. Now, I told her to be very careful and not get emotionally invested again until she saw, and hear this carefully, until she saw consistent behavior change in him over a long period of time. Now, since she had trust in me, she decided to be watchful. And a few months later, like we had both gone our ways because I wasn't serving her as a client anymore. She was, just sharing bits and pieces of her life with me, and I was happy to hear that. But a few months later, I got a call from her, and she told me he was back to his old ways, and the changed person he claimed to be was nowhere in sight. And she felt sad that she had let him into her life and into her son's life more than she should have in spite of my warning her. But she was still very thankful that she could see through those patterns because of, how, I warned her and I protected her by asking her to be watchful. And she was also very sad that her dream of things getting back to normal as a family would not happen again. Now, why did she get pulled in? Now, why did she and many others get pulled in, men and women both? Because they may be still hurting from that sudden end. You go from love bombing to devalue to discard very quickly, right? And it's just such a big shock to deal with all of that. They're still hurting. So it feels nice to get back a semblance of what normal would have been for them. Loneliness can make them more open to reconciliation. And if the empath hasn't yet built a strong sense of self, a strong sense of self-love and self-partnering, or is still looking for answers or closure, they may be drawn in again. Now, in her case, in 1 year, she had shown massive progress, really fast. And she had come to a great stage of self-love and self-partnering, and that's how she was able to rebuild her career and be an inspiration to so many people. But, healing happens in layers, and there's always work to be done. There are always things we find where we are weak and we need to keep working. Now, for those of you who are looking to strengthen your efforts in your self-love journey, can get my self-love crystal healing bracelets, which are made with rose quartz, amethyst, and green jade, to strengthen your heart chakra and your root chakra so that it gives you a sense of stability and security in yourself, and your heart is healed from all the difficult experiences and feels complete in itself. So as you're doing the work at the mental and emotional layer, as you know, my coaching involves, working at all the different layers of our personality. The crystal healing bracelets also help you work at the energetic layer, and it helps you quicken your journey. Now, some empaths may also still be seeking validation, trying to understand what went wrong, or what makes it harder is also the empath's hope. They remember the beginning, their love, their closeness, their warmth, and how they felt in that company with the narcissist. And also their empathy and compassion, which the narcissist once used against them, makes them open the door again for them. Now, another reason could be how narcissists use emotional leverage during hoovering. They tap into your vulnerabilities and your values. Now, sometimes the hoovering involves shared responsibilities, children, aging parents, financial commitments, health issues, and they all become tools for emotional leverage. And in spiritual communities, it may sound like appeals to your sincerity and loyalty and commitment to your path and to your gurus. Now, the narcissist knows really well where your values lie, and they press on them. And in my client's case, she really wanted it to work so her son could have a father and he could grow up in a happy family. And it was also very hard for her to be a single mother and support, and it's hard for any mother. And, any kind of support was wonderful for her, especially from the father. And another reason, one more reason is coming to my mind why empaths can get trapped is in the hoovering stages, is that, they may feel responsible for others, right? Like, what if the narcissist shows up sick or shows up bankrupt? And, the empath may feel vulnerable or, not wanting to disrupt their children's life. And that makes them vulnerable. And that's what made my client vulnerable. So, she had reached a great stage in her life, but, she still had this vulnerability that, oh, my child will be fine only when he has his father. I am not good enough to, take care of him alone. And my child deserves a full life, a complete life, both parents. And, something will, some disaster can happen if he doesn't have that. And it's natural to have that vulnerability. And, she had not yet worked on those pieces in herself. So, the promise to co-parent and the promise to change and to provide, etc. It makes it very difficult for the empath to sort through what is real and what is, manipulation. And this is what the hoovering stage is all about. And I'd like you to be very careful as you go through this. And if any of this sounds familiar to you, and if you are also a person with dreams, a person who is, a high energy person who, has a lot of aspirations and dreams, who's a high achiever, a successful woman or a successful man, a leader, who really does not want any of this to disturb the growth path you are on, and you're looking for real steady change, then choose from the options that help you the most. You could choose one-on-one coaching with me, and we could start with a 20-minute clarity call, and we understand the program better and your needs better and if you're a good fit. Or if you're looking for, the self-starter option or the group coaching option where you're either, you don't want too much help, but you want to do things yourself, or you want help, but, you're fine with group coaching as you'd love to be part of a community that's healing together, then you could join the HealStrong self-starter or group coaching programs and rebuild step by step on your own. Links to both are in the description below, the one-on-one coaching option with me or the self-driven and group-driven options also. And I look forward to seeing you inside.